Welcome back to another episode of the IC Pixels podcast. This is David.
This is Anthony.
Thanks for joining us again in the new year, 2018. Why am I talking like this?
I don't know.
Come on down. So thanks everybody that stuck with us through all of 2017. Instead of doing a recap of 2017 or something lame like that, we have actually a different topic to talk about.
Yeah, I would like to not relive too. Well, I mean, I guess everything was. It's not like everything was bad, but it was also in 2017. So,
well, we can do a 2-minute recap. What's your fondest memory of 2017?
Getting a job. Actually, it wasn't getting the job. It was the
first paycheck.
Subsequent weeks when I got a check.
For me, I don't know. I guess related to the design stuff, I'd say one of my fonder memories was do I have one? I guess it sounds selfish and self-centered and stuff like that, but just being recognized for some work I did. Because I did some work on a website for somebody. It wasn't hard or whatever, but people's socks were knocked off and they were very impressed. And it felt good when people actually appreciate the stuff you did. So
take their socks off for you.
Yeah, start slipping them off. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yeah. No, that's weird.
All right. Wrap up is over. So.
Oh, and I moved. I guess that was technically. Yeah. I did that in 2017. I was done by the first.
So you're recording from the new studio.
The new studio.
The crystal clear clarity.
Yeah. The echo is canceled out because of new technology in the studio called boxes I haven't unpacked.
It's because my house is mad small. Well, yeah. Actually, I'm recording from a new location as well. I didn't move, not all my stuff, but I just moved my microphone to upstairs, and so.
Moving on up
to the east side.
I can't make those jokes. I've never watched that show.
I haven't either, but that's we'll start that for our episode in February where we talk about Black history things or Black stereotypes and how we don't live up to them. Like I didn't see Color Purple until I was like 24, 25, and people.
I still haven't seen The Color Purple.
Oh well, there's a lot of jokes that people make. Well, I think
R.I.P. Prince. Huh? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I haven't seen Purple Rain either, or whatever that Prince movie was.
I've seen pieces of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I mean, I haven't sat down to listen to one of his full albums. They played it a lot on the radio when he died, and I was like, oh. I mean, I knew it was good, but
I've never listened to any part of any Prince album intentionally. If I've heard it, it was because it was on the radio or in a store. Other than that, I've never heard any of his music.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I believe
you can tell that. I mean, it just was not my.
Yeah, I was a kid when that was out, and okay, I'm not running back to listen to it now.
It ain't Take 6 though. Sorry. Nothing.
So
anyway,
that's tangent number 3 for this episode. So what we wanted to talk about this week was something I just made up a name for called design blindness. So it's kind of similar.
Blindness. Oh, never mind.
What?
Go ahead.
So
the blindness.
Design blindness. The blindness.
Well, I was trying to make it a thing, but
no, we haven't even defined it yet. So,
okay.
So I thought of it because I think of it as similar to like ad blindness. So nowadays, a lot of people have become blind to advertisements on the web because they're so used to ignoring them. They're kind of accustomed to where they're going to be, what they're going to look like, and so they know to ignore them. Like I use a Yahoo email because I'm still stuck in the early 2000s or something. But
I'm sorry.
I have a Yahoo email address, and on the side there's ads, and I just always ignore them. I never look at them because I know there's ads over there. That's the same way a lot of people act towards ads on the internet, and that's why you'll see on some sites the ads are designed in a way that they try and look like real content so that they can get people to click on them. Because I was on Jalopnik website. It's a website about cars and stuff like that. But anyway, they have ads in there, but they're mixed in with the content, and they look so similar to the other content that until you start reading the title, then it's like, wait a minute, this is not this is not a blog post I want to read. This is not an article. This is like, 7 ways you can save now. Guess what he did next? And it's like those clickbait titles.
You won't believe how he saved next.
Yeah. You won't believe how I just saved 10% on my mortgage payments. Or like, check out this fast way to reduce varicose veins or something. I don't know why I would see that ad, but anyway. So,
what are you Googling on it?
I be in the Google streets, I just switch it up sometimes so they don't know whether I'm black or white. Like varicose.
I know
veins.
you're getting old, but you shouldn't have to worry about varicose veins yet. Yeah.
But so yeah, that was all about ad blindness, design blindness. So as a designer, I would think that like I should be able to see through some design tricks that get played on this like on a daily basis. But I've noticed, at least personally, a lot of times I fall for design the same way, or I assume the same way a regular person would fall for design. So I guess an example would be like, you may see an advertisement for a hamburger or something, and they're using like some sexy woman in the ad to get your attention and get you to pay attention or whatever. So as a designer, I know, in the back of my head, I know exactly what they're doing. It's like, okay, well, the burger's not that good, so they're getting you to look by using this woman who's maybe doing something provocative or whatever to get you to look at it.
Being objectified by the male gaze, or
no, I feel like she's objectifying me by assuming that I'm going to be interested in the burger just because she's holding it.
Yeah,
but that might be just because I have a brittle spirit.
But she doesn't have those varicose veins, so you're not into her.
I have a brittle spirit, so I was like, oh, burger, I gotta eat it. But anyway, so as a designer, in some cases, I would say that I'm able to see through the stuff, the design, to see to the core of what's going on. But I'll say a lot of times I don't have that design blindness that I guess some people would think you would have as a designer. Like, you do this all day, so you should know exactly what's going on. But
yeah, I think I fall for it most when it comes to like health food, because or food that is trying to appear healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like, well, it's green and brown and stuff, and they use like something similar to what is that font? Papyrus, something similar to papyrus. It's like I know what they're doing, and they slap like organic on it, or like just earthy colors and stuff like that. I know what they're doing, but it still makes me feel more okay with it, even though I'm aware that I could just read the back and figure out what's really going on. But I mean, because sometimes with those things, I know what they're doing, but if they do it well, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm like, oh, I see what you did there. I'm gonna buy in because you did a good job, of selling it. But I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm. I think it kind of goes along with, like we've talked about it in the past, like design cliches and stuff like that. Because I think if you blatantly use a design cliche, like we talked about, like using women or even skinny clad men to sell stuff like Abercrombie used to do, then
or bod men spray.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Bod men spray.
Or like like if you think about like Victoria's Secret, their catalog, it's obviously aimed at a specific, they're using a specific ploy to get you to look at it from a design perspective. There's not really much design to it. It's just women.
At least 2 of them. Oh, sorry.
So I think when it's done in an obvious manner, I can ignore it on some level. It's easier for me to ignore it. Or like, like when someone's obviously trying to target an urban and a black audience, I can see it and I'm like, all right, I see what you're trying to do there. It's trash. I'm going to ignore it. Or I can look past the design and I'm not immediately like, oh, I have to read this because it says it's for us.
It's like, I mean, it's like one of those things. Yeah, because it's you can tell that most people can tell the difference between. Well, not most. I don't know if it's most people, but you can tell the difference between somebody
Mm-hmm.
pandering versus somebody that's really just trying to reach out and connect with you. You know, 'Cause I saw like a comedian. It's one of those white comedians that black people like. I forgot his name. Um, but he was talking about that, like why black people like him. It was like he was like, I'm not trying to pander to them. I'm just, you know, I'm asking questions and I'm, trying to
Mm-hmm.
understand better, and that's why people, allow him to the barbecue and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I forgot what his name is also, but is it Gary Owen? I think it is. But yeah, but it's the same thing with other things. I mean, people can tell, like we said with black people, and you watching a show and it's like, oh, there's the black, there's the token character that's supposed to, I'm supposed to
Mm-hmm.
relate to. There's the black Power Ranger,
Yeah.
that that you're supposed to relate to. But yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I'll say, so where it's kind of hard, where I get tricked a lot of times. Well, health food definitely tricks me. Um, food advertisement in general kind of can trick you pretty easily, especially if I'm hungry. I'm gonna get tricked, and I won't notice the like when you take a look at food advertisements and promotions, it becomes more obvious what they're trying to do and how they're using design to promote it. But I feel like in the moment, I just get caught up and I don't notice the design element. It's when like so last week I was designing some labels for some vegetarian meat products or something like that, and
Veggie meats.
basically, so if I was shopping, I wouldn't notice the design or I wouldn't notice how the design was affecting my decision as much. But when I was actually designing it, then I had to think, okay, like what colors are gonna kind of make people interested in this food and think about it as healthy and gluten free and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the only time I really think about it because when I'm walking through the grocery store, it's like, ooh, that box is red and red and yellow make you hungry, and I'm probably gonna pick that one up. Or that box is green, it must be healthy, or whatever like that.
You never buy a red and yellow box for what you eat, but
No, there's a lot of things in red and yellow. Like most pizzas are in red and yellow boxes, like in the frozen ones.
oh well.
Uh,
Well, yeah, like DiGiorno or something like that. But
yeah, a lot
like,
of them are in.
well, when I was just thinking, like when it comes to like healthy stuff, it's usually going to be in some other,
Well, so
you know.
an example I can think of is like Boca Burgers. Boca Burgers are in. They have red and I don't know if it's yellow. It might be orange. I haven't looked at their box recently, but when you start to
Mm,
look at it, you'll see like a lot of this stuff uses similar color palettes, like greens, reds, browns. Those are all well, red, yellow, brown are colors that promote kind of make you hungry.
yeah. Well, I know it's like that with fast food
Mm-hmm.
restaurants or restaurants in general, especially fast food. That yeah, they're gonna be red and yellow, red and yellow, red and yellow.
It was black and
Okay.
yellow.
Um.
Um, so the other thing I noticed this in is like and it's funny because you don't even realize it, like the design of restaurants. So this is more like interior design, but in restaurants, a lot of times, like fast food restaurants, they're gonna tend to have brighter colors to make you hungry, but they're gonna have hard seats because they don't really want you to stay there long. They want you to buy and leave. And then like those more expensive sit down restaurants, they're gonna have low lighting, more like muted, more richer colors like browns, burgundies, purples, stuff like that. And they're going to have softer seats because they need you to stay there and eat a lot of food and leave a tip and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I
Yeah.
read about it and
Make
then
you
I was
wanna.
like, I never even noticed this. But I think it's one of those things like, I don't know. As a designer, I just didn't even notice it. And I feel like I should have.
Well, that's why it's I think it's weird for McDonald's how they're trying to be more healthy and trying to like, oh, free Wi-Fi, like, hey, stick around, but it's like nobody wants to stick
Mm-hmm.
around, really. It's like they're trying to get that crowd that's going to Starbucks and everywhere else, but it's like it'll never feel
Yeah.
the same. I mean, you're more. I don't know. I was in Panera the other day, and someone was in there with a whole printer,
What?
like printing things out. It's like, really?
That's strange.
Yeah, I was like, wow. All right. I mean, I guess. But
So As a designer, do you think design blindness is bad
Um,
or good?
I don't know if, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to say it's good or bad. I mean, if you're a designer, I think you're going to notice it. If you're a good designer, you're going to notice it. You're going to notice other good design. Um, I would say, I don't know, it may be a good thing sometimes because there are times when I'm walking around and it's like, I wish I could just eat at this restaurant, but I really don't like their font. I mean, there's things
Mm-hmm.
that bother me. I can't just sit there and not be bothered by something, the design of
Well, I think
something.
I think it's
I mean, I know it's a
subconscious
little bit
too,
different.
because I have to think about it as to why I like certain things or why I like certain places or certain cars or whatever.
Yeah.
But subconsciously, I know like it's happening subconsciously. I feel like all the time, but I don't always. I can't. I'm not like uh focused in like on presently thinking like, oh, do I like the design of this? No, do I like the design of that? I feel like there's other things that
Yeah.
influence my decision as well.
I mean, it's kind of like a salesman or something like that. I mean, if they're just pushy and annoying and it's obvious they're trying to sell something, then yeah, it's easier for me to shut it down. But it's like if I feel like you actually care a little bit and you took the time to walk me through it, then I'm more intrigued to buy, whatever you're trying
Hmm.
to sell to me. I think it's the same thing with design, and I'm more, even if I'm aware of it, I'm more likely to go along with it if I feel like you tried to meet, the, you know, to do something visually appealing that I appreciate, and gave me the information I could find what I was looking for easily. You did a good job, and then I'm more likely like, okay,
Hmm.
thank you. Even if you weren't, even if you are more expensive or something else, I may be more likely to go along with it
Right.
because of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of that happens for me too, but it's all subconsciously, or 90% of it. Of course, I do think about like price and stuff like that, but I'm not always thinking about how the design affects my decisions. And I think that's an interesting thing to try to think about at least, especially as a designer, because then it can help guide you when you're designing things for other people. You know what I'm saying? Because like when I was designing those packaging for veggie meat, I didn't. I've never really
The
thought about what the packaging of that stuff looks like, and so yeah,
veggie
yeah. And
meat
so
in
when I
general.
started googling and I started
Oh,
noticing similarities and colors and different things they use to kind of promote what they're trying to do. So I thought it was really interesting.
especially well for veggie meat, I think they can get away with not being red and yellow. Personally, I believe that because vegetables aren't. Well, some vegetables are red and yellow, but I think like I bought some burgers. They're called field burgers. I made one tonight. It was good, but their packaging is like tan with like some brown lettering on it. But I think that's what you expect on that in that section of that section of Kroger is going to
Yeah,
have that kind of
it's that
stuff in
earthy
it.
color.
Yeah, it's not gonna So if something over there was bright color, you know, I think it
Hmm.
would kind of throw me off.
Well, even the ones that use like the
Because
reds and the
honestly,
yellows, they don't use like bright fire engine red. They use like a subdued red or a light
yeah,
orange type of color because they want to blend. Well, on one hand, you want to blend in with your surroundings, and then the other hand, you want to stand out a little bit. But you don't want to be like, "Woo, I'm unhealthy," when everything else is all healthy looking.
that makes that made me think about something, and maybe this is another episode, but which section of the store has the best design? Because I was just thinking about
Hmm.
all the health stuff, and like they usually have really good design,
Yeah.
even if it's minimal. They usually
Well, I
have good
think
design.
we can talk about this. Maybe this is another episode, but I think health food is trying to win you over on two fronts because a lot of times health food is going to be more expensive. That's just the way it is. Just like you think about a Mercedes, it's way more expensive. But if a Mercedes looked the same as like a Honda, you wouldn't be willing to pay that money. But they spent a lot of money getting that design right and that distinctive look and feel. So when you are in a Mercedes, people know you're in a Mercedes. Same thing. Well, not the same thing with the food, but with food, they have to put money into the design of their containers and packaging because they've got to convince you to pay that premium over the cost of just getting some beef or whatever. Because like if you look at the packaging on regular like meat, it's just a label. It's not even packaging for real. Like there's no design on it because it's
Yeah.
like you already know what this is.
Yeah, because you don't care what brand
Yeah,
it is for the most part. You're just like, well, because a lot of times if you're buying meat, well, not all the time, but unless it's frozen or something like that, it's from that store. It doesn't matter. You want to see
yeah,
what
but
the
like
meat looks
you've
like.
seen like Tyson's chicken and stuff like
Pause.
that. The
Well,
design
yeah,
is nothing
yeah.
amazing.
Well, I think yeah, no, I mean, because you know what you're getting once you get in that aisle, and you just look, I mean, yeah, that's more so the brand, but I
Hmm.
mean, like the
Well, yeah,
fresh
yeah,
meat,
fresh meat. There is no
that's
brand for that, but still, there's not much fanfare around that in terms of design because it's like who cares? I know what I'm getting. Dead cow.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, but even in that section, they do have the
Yeah,
earthy
the free
stuff,
range. Yeah, yeah,
you
and it's
know.
like okay, we've got to justify why
Yeah,
you're paying extra for dead cow.
free range, college educated
Low
chicken.
carb, gluten free,
Yeah.
BPA free.
GED. Yeah, but that's interesting. I mean, a real question. I mean, like when you're talking about the Mercedes, the question is, if you wasn't rapping, would you still be riding a
What? I thought you
Mercedes?
were asking a real question. uh,
Sorry, I've kind of missed my window for that question earlier, and I just felt like I needed to bring it back.
I haven't
Maybe
been
it wasn't
rapping and
working.
I've been riding
But,
Mercedes for years. Um,
okay, all right. Well,
used Mercedes, but I actually had something relevant to say and I forgot what it was because you felt the need to bring up Pimp C.
you're welcome. R.I.P. Yeah.
Um, so I think I don't know. I guess it's hard to think about it how or remember what it was like before I was into design or before I cared about design because I don't remember when that was. But I feel like the way designs affect me and change my decisions and stuff like that or guide me in terms of my choices is not that far different from someone who is not a designer. Do you think there's a difference for you?
um, I don't know. I think I may care about it more. Maybe I care more about it more than you because it's something I think about all the
Well, I
time.
guess I was thinking in terms
When
of
I'm
like,
looking
let's
for.
say, for instance, a prime example I can think of is like Apple versus a PC. Apple definitely
Yeah,
has a better looking design in terms of the physical device. PCs have stepped their game up,
yeah,
but if I'm a designer and I just need a good device to do my work on at the best price point, what's best? A PC is definitely better. It's not going to cost me a rack.
yeah. It's
I
gonna
know
work
what
for
I'm doing. It's
you.
not
Yeah,
all stupidly simple, and I know I can use it. No hate. Like, don't get mad, all the Apple
yeah.
fanboys. So ignoring design, I would get a PC every time. But I
Well,
have a Mac.
there's also
Yeah.
there's also spite, and I'm fine with that. Like, for instance, there are maybe one or two Jordans that I think
Hmm.
are look pretty good, but I'd never buy them, and that's partially out of spite. I mean, I don't know who specifically I'm trying to stick it to, or
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'll show them or whatever. But I just, I mean, also I just like, what? I'm not getting Jordans at this point. It just seems too black. I don't know, but it feels feels too urban for me to do that. But I don't know. It's just like, I'm not getting Jordans at this point.
Hmm.
There's plenty of other shoes I can get. Or I have a friend that don't insist on Nikes all the time, and like I rarely buy Nikes specifically to spite him. And I'll put that over design.
Okay. So that's a
So,
personal problem you have
uh,
with you and your friend. Uh,
well, no, okay, okay. Well, I'll give you a real example, or another. I mean, those are real.
Hey,
Not that those aren't real; those
did
are real
someone
examples,
when
and
you were
I
younger, did
I
someone like
absolutely
kick you
live by
wearing a
that.
Nike or Jordans or what? Is there some pent up anger you need to deal with from your childhood? Okay.
Yes.
'Cause
Um.
when I was younger, I didn't have any Nikes, and now I have three pairs of Jordans currently that I rarely wear. And it's not like, ooh, I'm going to get what I
Mm.
never had as a child, but I actually like them. But that anyway, that's my life story.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not paying over $100. I'm just difficult. I mean, I haven't come across one that I was like, oh, this is
Hmm.
perfect price. I'm getting these. Somebody was just like, oh, here's some for like $50. Would be like, oh, okay. Well, I did buy some Jordans actually. They weren't Jordans. They were like Jordan brand things, but I bought those as a flip on eBay. So, um,
Yeah. So,
still never wore them, never lost. But no, okay. So a good example of okay. So when I'm looking for a new book to read, I know that you
you
shouldn't. I mean,
shouldn't
that's
judge
a
a book by its cover.
common saying. Don't judge a book by its. I
That's the
absolutely
only thing
judge
to
a book
judge
by
it
its
by.
cover. Well, no, you can
Yeah.
read the description
Yeah,
and
but
read the
how do you decide
reviews and
which one to read?
everything, but I
The cover. Yeah, exactly.
by the cover, yeah, by the title and everything, yeah. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and I absolutely look at that, and I'm like, man, why did they choose that? Like, this has nothing to do with the story, like, or like what that, or it's a picture of the character, and now it's ruined because I think that's
Hmm.
what's in my head now, or like, I don't know. It just I absolutely judge it by the cover. And in books I've circled back around. I mean, yeah, because it does catch your eye. It's like, oh, this is
But do you
cool. Let
think
me see
that
what that
is
is.
far different from how someone who's not in design or a designer would judge a book? I
I
don't
don't
think it's
know.
that different because I think
I don't know.
so. So I think
I
people
don't know
that are
how
not
those people
designers,
think.
again, we're just speaking for those people, just like we like to speak for women and other groups that can't speak for themselves. Um, that's a joke. Uh,
White people.
I think that they like the way we think about design and stuff like that. We might be aware of the reasons for our choices, but I don't think our choices are that different than what someone who is not aware of why they're making the choice would make. So like I might pick whatever book because I like the cover, and someone else may pick the book because they like the cover, but they may say, "Oh, well, I also like the title," or "It just looked interesting," and they don't know the reason why. It might have been because the colors or the particular layout that was used in the cover appealed to them, but they don't realize they don't have the vocabulary to talk about it the way I could potentially.
Oh, so they're influenced by it. They're influenced. You're saying they're influenced by it. They just might not realize it as much as we are because
Yeah,
we
yeah,
know we're
yeah.
being
Like
influenced by it.
I'm drinking the Kool Aid while I know what's in the Kool Aid. I know exactly what this Kool Aid is going to do to me, but I'm drinking it anyway. Whereas I feel like some people that may not know design, they're just drinking the Kool Aid.
Oh, normies is what they call them.
Normies? I've never heard that one.
Sorry, it's too much bodega. Blah. Anyway, um, no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that answered the question. If it's a good or bad
I'd
thing.
say for me personally, I think it's a good thing. Well, okay, so design blindness, I think it can be useful at times because there are some times where you will be caught up in a good design and make a bad choice, or caught up in there's obviously other elements in play, like the assumption around like the what your peers will think and all kinds of other things influence your decision. But if it's strictly based on design, there's definitely been times where I like the way something looks, and it may not be the best thing I should choose or whatever, or the colors and other things that were used in the design influence me one way or another when I probably shouldn't have been. So knowing, at least being aware of what's happening, I think is very powerful because then you can make better choices, or at least see through the design and look and analyze things for what they are. Like, okay, it looks pretty, it's attractive to me for whatever reason because they're using members of my aspirational group in the advertisement or whatever. But really, do I need that thing? No. Or am I that hungry? No. Or should I eat that? No. So
Or should I double click that
double
Instagram
click.
photo?
You
No,
use Instagram for your computer.
nothing.
Double tap.
I messed that up.
Yeah, but
I double
so
click it.
I think because there's
I
been several
pressed the
times
space bar
where
twice.
like I'll be looking at something and I'm like, yeah, I really like that or whatever, and then later on, after I've spent some time around it, I'll look at it again with my designer eye, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not even that good looking. Like, I see why I liked it, but it's obvious now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think I can look past things when it's not like. I think it bothers me more when I can
Yeah.
tell they tried. If I know that they just designed something, it's like, I can look past it. I'm okay with it. I don't let it bother me that much. But when people try too hard, it's like I know what you're
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to do, but you
yeah. If I can
didn't look
see
right.
if it's blatant what strategies you're using to get me to look at something, I'm more likely to ignore it because I know how it was made. So
Yeah.
I've seen like billboards with like massive red arrows pointing to some word or something. It's like, all right, I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's like, all right, okay. Like, I mean, I guess there can be an argument made. Like, is that effective for other people, or it's for the masses, or is that just us that it bothers? I mean, because there are times, in design where things need to be bad looking,
hmm
out of functionality,
hmm
because it needs to work, or this is an industry standard,
Right.
so it needs to look bad, or there's just things that you have to
hmm
do that you would wish you didn't have to. So,
Yeah, but it's
but,
again what works.
no,
So that reminds me. It's not directly related, but that reminds
yeah.
me of like those African prince, Nigerian prince scheme things where they send you emails saying I'm a Nigerian prince and I need you to send me some money so I can send you a bunch of money or whatever. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So
what.
um, I was reading about that and they were saying actually that when they send those emails out, they purposely make them they purposely make it so you can tell it's a scam on some level because those people that would have not fallen for the obvious scam, they would have they wouldn't it wouldn't have worked all the way through. So what I guess I'm probably explaining this the worst way ever, but like if I know that I can't get
Yes.
you past like level 2 or level 3 of the scam, then I don't even start with you. So I might send an email out to massive amounts of people. Most people delete it, but the ones that open it are the ones that are dumb enough to actually fall for part of the scam so they can get money. So it's really a filtering
Oh.
mechanism to say, "Hey, how dumb are you? If you're dumb enough to open this email, then we have a chance. But if you just delete it, we didn't want to talk to you anyway because we would be wasting our time." And I think people use design in the same way. Like,
Makes sense.
we're going to design this in a certain way that appeals to this certain group. And so anyone who it's not for will just blatantly ignore it. And as a designer, when I see stuff that's done
Yeah.
like that, especially when I can tell who you were going after, then it's easy for me to say, okay, that's not for me. I'll ignore it. Or I can see like how it was done, and it's like, I see exactly what they're trying to do, and so I don't need to look at it or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody designed something. Well, maybe some people specifically thinking about designers, but I guess some people do. But
Like all that stuff Adobe does, but hey, it's
yeah,
like really, who else you gonna buy from?
yeah, I know. I know, right? It's like I don't like the design of. I don't like their new logo. That's like when Instagram changed their logo. I don't like it.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, nobody quit.
Yeah, so I guess that's what we wanted to talk about this week. Any New Year's resolutions?
This year I'm not doing it for the new year. I'm doing it month to month. So, um, I need to write down January's resolutions. I haven't done that
I
yet.
resolved to write down my resolutions before the end of the month.
Yes, January I'm going to write down my resolutions. In February, I'm gonna. No, I mean, I have some stuff in mind, but I haven't. Yeah, I haven't sat down and like really wrote them down. I need to do that,
Mhm.
but I don't know. Go to the gym. I mean, I was doing that anyway, so that's not a real resolution. Um, I don't know. Well, I mean, there one thing I definitely want to do because I've been kind of slipping on it is with like my artwork. I don't feel like there. When I first started, not when I first started doing it, but when I started taking it more seriously a couple of years ago, I, there were clear advancements, and it just since I moved over to just last week or whatever, I was moving a bunch of paintings and stuff like that, and went through a bunch of old artwork, and you could see like obvious
Mm-hmm.
growth from like from that time to later on and later on. And I mean, I know that made that obvious like jumps of skill or just growth may reduce over time naturally, but I would like to be able to see an obvious um, growth, from year to year. And I don't feel like I saw that at the end of this year compared to the beginning of this last
Mm-hmm.
year. So that's one thing I want to do is make sure I commit to, doing more of my own work and making, obvious steps of, getting better at it.
Sounds like a plan.
So,
I'd say
yeah.
my one of my resolutions for this year is to try to work, trying to avoid just being a Photoshop operator for people just for money. Because I've done it in the past and I've tried to get away from it, but I want to get more to, I guess, what you could call like a consulting model with clients. So I'm not just going to do whatever you ask me to do. I'm going to try to give you some advice and some guidance in terms of what's going to work best to help you out instead of just, yeah, you want it pink? I'll make it pink.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a miserable existence
And
anyway.
then
So,
I completely agree with what you were saying in terms of seeing progress because I know, I don't know, it just feels great to see progress. So there's a few things that I've been saying I was going to do, and I've seen progress on a few things, but I want to continue to see progress. So I got to just keep working. I mean, what?
hey, yeah. Well, and another thing is that book I was writing. I definitely want to make some
The,
progress on
the
that.
comic book?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, someone, I mentioned that to someone, they keep asking me about it. So, Charles. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, did I tell you that? Well, I stopped drawing for a while and I just went back and started writing the
Hmm.
story instead. So, I don't know. I'm still finishing the story, then I'll be back around to drawing. So,
Yeah, so watch out for that in 2018? Yeah, 20
something or
something.
other.
uh, I guess for our podcast, one of our resolutions is to get episodes out somewhat timely in a somewhat timely fashion. But we are moving towards trying to go for a shorter format because we had some episodes that were like an hour plus, and it takes longer to edit. It takes more time out of things I need to do, like Netflix. So
Yeah. And we don't want to ramble on for an hour just so we can
yeah,
hit an hour. Want to be more concise, get to the point, and keep it moving, have good content, all that kind of stuff. There's no point in wasting people's time just rambling on.
yeah. With that in mind, thanks for tuning in.
We don't have to. Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of IC Pixels podcast. We hope you learned something. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment or a like or something, please. Um, Check us out on the social media. We don't post there often, but that's our New Year's resolution. We're gonna post there more often. Um, Maybe.
We lost two
Oh
followers.
no. So I know someone who reacts very negatively to losing followers, and it's like, really? It's not even a real person. But anyway, anything else to add?
Nope.
New year, new you, or whatever that saying is. If you're still saying that, I feel like you're kind of corny. So don't say that this year. And check us out next time. Hopefully, in a week or so, we'll be back with another episode. Hopefully. No promises.
That's
We're not like promise people to nothing.
already broke their New
Yeah,
Year's
basically.
resolution.
I start out with mine. All right, we're out.
Bye.